Live on DAZN Worldwide, May 2nd and 3rd, Garcia versus Romero and Canelo versus Skull. Friday from 6 p.m. Eastern, Garcia returns in a history-making Times Square takeover. 24 hours later, Saturday from 7 p.m. Eastern, King Canelo faces undefeated Skull for the undisputed crown. May 2nd and 3rd, a knockout weekend of boxing. Pick one or go all in for only $90, exclusively on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Missions to Mars, driverless cars, AI chatbots. Feels like we're already living in the future. Well, Robinhood is built for the future of trading. Robinhood's intuitive design makes trading seamless. Spot opportunities and take control of your trades with tools like screeners, simulated returns, and strategy builder. On Robinhood, traders have access to hundreds of popular stocks and ETFs 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. So you can keep up with today's fast-paced markets. You can now even trade stocks and crypto all in one place with the new desktop platform, Robinhood Legend. The future of trading is fast, powerful, and precise. Experience it now on Robinhood. Investing is risky. Robinhood Financial LLC member SIPC is a registered broker-dealer. Trading during extended hours involves additional risks. Cryptocurrency services are offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services.
All right, HBCU Legends family, this is Coyote Mosley, and we have a great episode today. We're going to talk about the HBCU guys in the draft, what happened with Shadeur Sanders and that legendary slide of his. And we got some great information coming out of the Orange Blossom Classic. And man, we have a new Kingslayer. It's not Jamie Lannister. His name is Anthony Edwards. So sit back, relax, let's get engaged. Don't forget, go ahead and follow us on all of our social media platforms at HBCU Legends. And you can follow me at KTMOZE on X. But also, if you're listening on, on YouTube, smash up the likes as well as subscribe to our channel. We are growing. And thanks to you. So get the word out, spin it around, and we'll be back after these messages. Okay, guys, it's the NBA playoffs, and we have some surprising new developments. Still, my guy Steph Curry is still in the playoffs. So if you want to get into the game, you got to use Underdog. There's finally a way to be able to make those picks on sports without leaving your house. The game is in your hands. Underdog is one of the leading sports apps, and you can play it now in your state. So you can be able to play as little as $1. And if you get that right, you can be able to win up to 1,000 times your money. So turn $1 into 1,000 just with your sports knowledge. So going forward for me, I'm looking at Steph. I'm also looking at Anthony Edwards. So if I believe Ant is going to go over 35 points in the game, I could be able to click higher or lower. Or if I think Steph is going to hit 15 buckets in that game, I could go higher or lower. It's up to me. I'm the one who's going to be able to pick the stats and be able to pick which stats that's going to go and score well for me tonight. So join in, download the Underdog app, and sign up using the promo code HBCU Legends to unlock the special offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Join in on the fun when you sign up with the promo code HBCU Legends. Claim your special offer today and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash instantly upon your first deposit. Now, you must be 18 plus to play, or 19 plus in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 plus in Colorado for some games, and 21 and plus in Massachusetts as well as Arizona, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned about your play? You got to call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In Arizona, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line to 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Guys, Underdog is the best way you can be able to get into game, especially with these playoffs heating up. Sign up today, get a deposit for Underdog here, use the promo code HBCU Legends, and get up to $1,000 in bonus cash today and a free pick. Go to UnderdogFantasy.com, download the app, and get in the game. All right, Kyle T. Mosley with HBCU Legends here with the legend himself out of Houston, Texas, Ralph Cooper. What's going on, Coop?
I'm doing well. I don't know about the legend part, but I am in Houston, so that's a good thing. So thank you. One of the best places in the country to be.
Yeah.
Houston, Texas. In your house, in your home.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Look, guys, Coop's being mild. 50, what? Are you on 56 years now, Coop? 50?
Yeah, I've been blessed to be around 56 years and still be able to talk and remember it.
In
so
broadcasting, guys.
Yeah.
And if you guys don't know it, Coop was one of the young journalists at that time with his friend George Foreman over there for the Rumble in the Jungle.
Yes, that's true also, and never will forget it. A great moment, and to see Muhammad Ali and George Foreman and Don King and those crews, those entourages, and to see the president of the dictator president of Zaire, the Republic of the Congo, now to see Mobutu, President Mobutu.
Yeah, Mobutu.
All of that was quite enlightening.
Man, you lived a good life, man. Coop saw some dramatic fights with Foreman as well. Been a part of history as far as interviewing legendary figures like Satchel Paige, as well as Hank Aaron, as well as Willie Mays and those guys as well. So, yeah, you're a legend, Coop, in my book. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, I thank you and all that good stuff. And not bragging, but I have to mention two of my favorite people in regards to track and field: Wilma Rudolph, and also the legendary Jesse Owens. Okay, so I just wanted to throw them in there also. I interviewed them also. So,
man, great interviews.
Thank you.
Those are great interviews. Yeah. Well, look, man, I wanted to get with you because usually around this time we kind of do a NFL recap, and as expectedly, we did not see a lot of HBCU guys go off the board who are directly out of the HBCUs, but we saw 3 come off the board who are part of HBCU programs, then get drafted into the National Football League. That was Travis Hunter, Shadeur Sanders, as well as Bashul Tutton, the young man out of North Carolina A&T. He went to the Washington Commanders as their not the Commanders. He went to Jacksonville Jaguars, I apologize, as a running back. Then, of course, we got Shadeur Sanders. He got signed, and we have 24 right now and counting undrafted free agents signings that came from the HBCU ranks. What are your thoughts just hearing those numbers right now?
Well, I like the numbers, but I think some of those guys who were signed as free agents probably should have been drafted. Especially the running back out of Jackson State, Mulligan.
Yeah, Mulligan,
right?
Correct.
Yeah, I thought he should have been. I thought he should have been drafted, but he didn't get drafted. But I'd look for him to make the team he's with, and I'm just excited that all of those guys get a chance to try out with a professional football team. And some of these contracts, for the sake of those who may not know, don't feel sorry for some of these young men. Some of these contracts are blessings. Some get signed for 2 or 3 years, where they're like on if you were dealing with baseball, a minor league baseball situation where you're learning the organization and you're still part of it, although you may not be part of the main roster.
Yeah, that's a great point because one of the top undrafted free agent signings who was an HBCU player from Jackson State University was Robert McDaniel, the defensive back who rated very high. And I talked to somebody inside of the Commanders organization. They were debating in that 7th round on drafting him, but chose a running back because they needed some running back help. But guess what? The running back was originally from Alabama State himself.
Oh, okay. Right.
And went on to Arizona his final season, but we got an Alabama State guy that was drafted over there. So that's the great thing. But I say all that to say this because Robert McDaniel, he did sign a 3-year, $2.995 million deal with a $30,000 sign-on bonus and $180,000 guaranteed signing each year. So,
yes. And see, some of this stuff is, to some people, the $30,000 may not sound that good during these times, but think about getting a $30,000 bump, and think about getting one if you're a guy in his early 20s, and you have a chance to live out a dream, and you get a little money to buy you some new rags or whatever you're going to do with it, or just put it in the bank and live good for a moment. So I think it's great that you shared that story.
Yeah, definitely. And we got the big guy, Carson Vinson, who is the young man out of Alabama A&M, the offensive lineman. He's gone over to the Baltimore Ravens, right, as an offensive tackle. That's a great landing spot for him, Coop. Think about all the great offensive tackles that have come out of the Ravens over the number of years, and I think they have two recently have been pegged for the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
And the Ravens are very innovative when it comes to signing young players. A gentleman I went to school with who came out of Ebony Worthing High School in 1966, who went off with two other friends, graduates of Worthing High School. They went to the University of Idaho, right? Mm-hmm. One is Dr. Joe Tasby now, who went to Idaho and became a doctor when he went to MIT. And the other one was the late Roosevelt Owens, who became a great, very important postal worker down here, and he died young. But the other one was Jeffrey Guillory, who became a professor. He ended up staying in the Idaho area. He ended up marrying out of Worthing. He ended up, when he went to Idaho, he played football for 4 years, graduated, became a professor, married a Native American, and they have grandchildren now. And guess what? One of the grandchildren played for Arizona State this past year.
Really?
And just got signed as a free agent by Arizona State. He has a 3-year contract, like you were talking about the Baltimore Ravens.
Yes.
He has a 3-year contract with the Baltimore Ravens, and it's one of those deals where he's like guaranteed a spot with the team, not per se with the on the roster, but they got him on a 3-year deal to develop him into a wide receiver or tight end. And you got Likely up there, and what's that? Mark Andrews.
Yes.
So he got some great people to learn from, and like his grandfather, he's a very smart individual. Xavier, remember that name, Xavier Guillory.
Xavier Guillory. All right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear. Got some Houston blood out there in Baltimore right now. So right now, Coop, if we look at the 5 guys that were drafted who have HBCU bloodline, number 1, Travis Hunter, the number 2 overall pick and Heisman Trophy winner that is now in Jacksonville. Then you have Bashil Tutton, the running back out of North Carolina A&T. He's now at Jacksonville as well. Then we have Carson Vincent, the Alabama A&M offensive lineman. He was the 141st draft pick overall, going to the Baltimore Ravens. Then we have Shadeur Sanders, the 144th draft pick in the 5th round, headed to the Cleveland Browns. And Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is the 254th overall draft pick in the 7th round, going to the Washington Commanders with Doug Williams and those guys. So that's our 5 guys with HBCU bloodlines that were drafted in the National Football League's current draft of 2025.
When was the last time that happened? I know you keep up with all those numbers. When was the last time that happened?
We had back in 2023, that was when we had 4 that were drafted.
This time 5.
Yeah, this time 5. Yeah.
Right. And again, a number of others, to those who are listening, a number of others should have been drafted. I go back to Mulligan. I was really surprised that he wasn't drafted. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Because you had a chance to see him up close, and you watched these other guys running the football, and he has a lot of talent, and I think that's a steal that they got him.
Yeah, he's going to the New York Giants.
I think that's a steal.
Yeah.
That they got him. So, and I think he's going to do well, though, but we'll see, and I'm glad for him.
Very smart young man. Had an opportunity to interview him a couple of times. His representative, Rashida Liberty, she's also the young lady who represented Davius Richard from North Carolina Central that we interviewed, remember, last year.
Right.
Oh, matter of fact, update on Richard. Richard is back on the NCCU staff under Trey Oliver as an assistant coach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's
so
good.
He retired from football after that injury in the HBCU Legacy Bowl.
Okay, right.
All right. So, Coop, what I wanted your thoughts on, and everybody has been at opposite sides almost of the spectrum. Some people have been more centric in their in their thought process, but when it comes to Shadeur Sanders and Shadeur dropping from what a lot of people believed, especially his father as well as his camp, thought he was a number 1 draft choice, right? And he slid further and further down the draft into the 5th round, which was, in my opinion, still bizarre because the young men who were selected ahead of him, he's still, in my opinion, light years ahead of those candidates. But you got to prove it on the field once you get to the National Football League, right? So what's your immediate thoughts when all of this was transpiring?
Well, as it transpired, my opinion went like something like this. Are there really 20-something football players better than him? Are there really 40? Are there really 100 football players coming out of college better than him? And then and then I asked the final question, were there 143? I don't believe that there were 143 football players who came out of college this year, football players who were better than him. Mm-hmm. I thought he should have been drafted higher. And I don't know. I get the feeling the owners got together and decided that, with their general managers, that they were going to send a message also. I mean, you had a young man of color he's a millionaire, right? And because of his NIL deals.
Yeah, he was already a millionaire.
Yeah, he's strolling around with a $40,000 or $50,000 necklace on his neck. And driving upscale vehicles, and then he was dictating to them some of the things he wasn't going to do. Come to the Green Bay and some of the other festivities they had around the draft, etc. Mm-hmm. And he was going to do things his way. And I just think again, they forgot about talent for a moment, and they went personal with it. And then again, they were also sending the message: we know you've been coached by your father all your life, and they know that he's coachable by other people. Mm-hmm. They already know that. Mm-hmm. But they wanted to send a message, and in regards to the culture, of the NFL, in my opinion. And that message is we dictate what we're going to do and not you and others who may be coming after you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what it is.
Yeah, and I'm in that same vein as you, Coop. I believe it was more of let's prove it to this young man. We still call the shots here.
Right. And he took a $40 million hit, if I'm correct, by going lower in the draft, not going early in the draft. He took a hit, but he's already his jersey sales. I don't know what
number
his
one.
own
Last night he reached number one.
Yeah, and he's got his own brand also.
Yeah,
remember?
Legendary. Right.
Yeah, so now you're telling me that he's past Cam Ward and he's past Travis Hunter in regards to jersey sales. That's what you're telling me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I remember when he was third earlier, but now you're saying he's number one. But that doesn't surprise me. And see, he's very smart. Now they've got 5 quarterbacks in Cleveland. He's already went in and did something probably that the others didn't do, and especially the young black quarterbacks should take a lesson on what he did. He went to Cleveland Marshall High School the last day or so and spoke with the youngsters. So he's building a base in the community. He's already strong on the social media thing, as you know. So now you go into Cleveland, and they're looking. I know the basketball team is doing well up there, and they thought Deshaun Watson was going to do it in football. You got Joe Flacco there. You got Pickett coming in. Mm-hmm. And then they drafted another quarterback ahead of him. But hey, Tom Brady was drafted in the 6th round, and I think what they did, they set looking back at Dion, and then knowing the bloodline, and then I saw him in high school. When I saw him in high school, there was no way you could have told me he would play in the NFL.
Really?
As a quarterback. Yes,
wow.
When I saw him in high school,
early.
But by his senior year, you could see how he had improved, because I guess Dion had put him in the presence of other quarterback greats who taught him, and he picked up what they were teaching him. And look at where he is now. But I didn't think he would be nowhere near the quarterback he is right now. When I saw him in the 10th grade, 11th grade, but by the 12th grade, you could see the improvement in him.
Wow, that's pretty special coming from you, because I was vaguely aware of the kid because you saw bits and pieces of what Dion was doing when he and his wife had that reality show, right?
Right.
And they would flash some things of Shiloh and some things of Shadeur as well. But when I got a chance to see him at Jackson State, you could see that there was a noticeable difference from that. Remember when right after COVID they had the spring games with the SWAC and everything, and the young man who was for Jackson State at that time as their starting quarterback wasn't quite up to snuff for what Prime wanted, right? Because he was going to bring in his son eventually. But you could see the difference. And what Shadeur did that first season, taking them all the way to the championship game. Well, both seasons taking them to the championship game.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, and I was going to say this also in regards to Shadeur and his brother. The other key factor there has been the mother. See, the mother is a model. Mm-hmm. To be a model, you've got to have some courage also. You know what I'm talking about? And some willpower. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
you've got to be a strong person to be a model. But we all know about Dion because of his football and baseball experiences and just listening to him. But the mother deserves some credit also. Yeah. And again, this is why I think he's going to be successful, because he's still getting advice from his mother. They were all together on that day he got drafted, and they went through it with him when he was not drafted. So it's good to see them all sticking with him.
Yeah. You look, and it was good to see the family portrait after it. And then, but was, in my opinion, was more great was the celebration
Right.
right after hearing his name called and being live streaming, having his sister, his brother right there, just being with him the whole time. But credit Shiloh, Coop. Think about this.
Right.
His brother really was really was a great support system. His older brothers were a great support system through that whole time. Think of how many those jokes he cracked. He said, "Man, if they're doing this to you, I hate to see what they're gonna do to me."
Well, remember he changed agents. Remember Dion
sure
was
did.
representing Shiloh, and he went and got
Drew Rosenhaus.
Yeah, and Rosenhaus got him signed with Tampa Bay right quick as a free agent, and he got a good deal also. And plus, I think he's going to a good situation also
With Ty Bowles, yeah,
who's a defensive great coach in my opinion. So that's a good move. So the whole family look like it looks as if they came out ahead and they're all happy and everything.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's move into this question though. When it comes to the slide, like we said, a lot of polarizing thoughts on what happened with Shadeur, but when it comes to the coaches and the leadership and some of these decision makers, should they have? I know it's tough to be able to actually pinpoint because a lot of the collusion is you can't really find records unless you go through emails, right, or text messages. Do you think these guys actually sent a message that some of the young guys coming up later should be wary of?
Yeah, I think that's been going on.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think they've always put out reports like that on people then it ends up hurting them in regards to their being drafted or signed by a team. So that's not any. They may put out there that the guy's hard to coach. And these days they may probably throw that word culture around quite a bit. But back in the day they used to use it. He's not hard. He's hard to coach. He doesn't follow instructions, or they put something out there about the guy was too dumb. He can't read defenses if he's a quarterback, and you know, and then they throw the word in that discipline, no discipline. So that's been going on, Kyle. I don't think it changes because you have people their personal feelings get involved. Is also in some cases if the athlete doesn't move like they want him to move, give them the respect that they think they should be getting, they'll use that against them also.
Yeah, and that's the one part I found that was very difficult for me to digest because some of those same landing spots that were open for Shadeur, those coaching as well as those decision makers, they should be on the line, toting the line with some of these owners. And if it's true by what Boomer Esiason said, that a couple of the owners were against Shadeur because they didn't like his attitude, that shows that there's a disconnect still, but there's also a lack of vision that when it comes to winning.
But see, is it any different from a guy trying to get hired as an engineer or in some other kind of position?
It's not.
And somebody there that doesn't like them, or doesn't like the way they came in, or just doesn't like the way they walk, or whatever, and just thinks they're going to disrupt the whole office, and they vote no in regards to hiring that person. So then we go to this football arena, and it's happening there also, in my opinion. It's been there, and it's still happening, and because everybody's not a good old boy. You look at Shadeur Sanders. Is he a good old boy, or is he? Well, he's who he is. They're a different breed. You know what I'm talking about? They're different.
Different.
Like the youngsters of the young people of the day are just different.
They're different. They have a different perspective on things,
Yeah. Right.
But also think about Shadeur has been around. We talked about this aspect. I think Michael Strahan brought this up. You talk about a young man who comes from what they would look at as privilege in their eyes, where, like, let's say the Mannings, and I can use them because I grew up watching Archie Manning and Eli and those guys play in high school, right? So you look at the Mannings and you compare them to the Sanderses. That's a football family, and they had money. But Dion is noticed to be the flashy this and this and the other, right?
Right.
I heard guys who, when he was ill, remember when he had to get his toes amputated, they were laughing and mocking him.
Right.
Laughing and mocking. I said, man, what are you guys talking about? This guy is fighting for his life. Why are you talking about him this way?
But that goes back again to the respect thing, and how some people, that's the way they are.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
And some of them hold key positions. If Mel Kiper is sitting on that stage, and he's been doing that for years, analyzing players, and you've got his hairpiece nearly turned backwards. They've got him so
he was upset.
He couldn't understand how Shadeur wasn't drafted either. I mean, when you got him sitting up there, that's when I knew. I mean, I already knew, but I mean, it was like, an endorsement of what my thinking was. Something is wrong here.
Yeah, something was wrong.
Yeah.
You got to credit also Rich Eisen. Rich Eisman got upset too. I thought he was about to grow some hair.
Right, because they both knew. They had watched this stuff and analyzed it better than as well as anybody who was doing that. And they knew the young man should have been drafted earlier. And they knew, they have friends on both sides. They didn't want to go against their friends, but they knew that it was some wrong being done.
Yeah. There was something about this whole deal. All right. The prank phone call. This is another instance of white privilege gets to get things kind of smoothed over.
And his father's lucky. He's working that's in Atlanta, right? He's working for Arthur Blanks, right? That's in Atlanta, right?
He is. Yeah, ironically, Dion's old football team, right?
Right. So he's working down in Italy. The father is working for Arthur Blanks, and his son gets a hold to the information with all the telephone numbers on it. He decides that, hey man, let's do one on Shadeur. Let's call him. Now they said that some others were called also that were fake.
Yeah, the young man who Abdullah, the kid from Penn State, I believe, as well. Yeah. Okay.
But now the organization has been fined, if I'm correct. I don't know what the punishment
organization was fined $250,000, and the coach himself $100,000.
And the son has been disciplined. No charges have been filed. He was impersonating somebody he wasn't, right?
Yeah, he was impersonating the New Orleans Saints general manager, Mickey Loomis.
Okay, now the other part of that is, now he has, from what I'm told, he has apologized to Shadeur. He apologized.
Yeah, he came up with the initial public apology, but it wasn't by video or anything. It was a prepared statement.
Right. So, if this had, you hate to go to I don't hate to, if it was a black guy, and that was his son who was black, who did the same thing that family did in regards to Sanders, he would already probably been fired. I think he would have already been fired. And then the other thing would have happened to the daddy. He probably would have been barred out of the NFL.
Right.
Nobody probably would have touched him.
Right.
But y'all, what do y'all call it? White privilege. White privilege. Back in the day.
That's what people have been saying. White privilege has.
We call it white power back in the day. Well,
and what was interesting, and I have to agree with this, one commentator said if there was a black kid, his photo would have been plastered across all these mediums.
Yeah. I agree. And his father, in a picture with his father.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I said, you all call it today white privilege back, and we call it white power. So you're getting a good example of it at work in one of his greatest instances where it's just a slap. They pay the fines and they keep the job.
Yeah, his dad didn't look too happy though when he gave his press conference yesterday. And
well, imagine the son has upset the money pot. You know, everybody had a little extra money in the family now.
Yeah,
you're $100,000 down. Think about it.
Yeah, he was embarrassed, man. I understand as a father, you're embarrassed.
Yeah, you're embarrassed with that, and then you mess up the money, the gravy train, as they call it. The gravy train is movie money, a trip money or whatever, and mommy money.
Mommy money. Mommy can't go. Hey, babe, we can't go on vacation for a couple of seasons now.
She may not be able to go to the mall like she was going to because of that $100,000 fine. So see, think about.
And that money could have gone to that kid's education over at Ole Miss.
Right. So think about what if the daddy has to apologize, which he did, and has to deal with. Think about how the mama feels.
Yeah.
You know, the mama's been bragging about the daddy having this job, blah blah blah. Then the neighbors and everybody else and other members of the family find out that little Billy Bob or whatever his name is, he committed this fraud in the Sanders case.
Yeah.
You know, so and everybody was talking. See, I don't know if you had women talking about what was happening with Sanders in the draft, because that's how big the story got. You came in contact with people you didn't even know they followed football.
I had women, females from my family who I did not know played. Look, one of my cousin from Florida, her husband played football.
Yeah.
In the National Football League and USFL.
Yeah.
I didn't know she even knew who Shadeur Sanders was. She called me every round. I can't believe he keeps sliding.
Right. Well, the ESPN people or whoever carried I forgot which network carried the draft.
All of them did. ESPN.
They all should kick in and give him a little money, give him a little something, a little bonus, a gift card or something, because he kept the interest up in the draft. Now he did do that. How many times have you known people to be watching after the third round, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh rounds of the draft, fourth and fifth rounds of the draft like it was the first round because he wasn't drafted?
Let me give it to you like this. Here's the prime effect. Shadeur Sanders draft watch.
Yeah.
The day 3, which is the last rounds, right?
Yeah.
The most watched day 3 ever.
Ever. Yeah, I believe it.
4.3 million viewers averaged on all televised platforms.
Yep,
Get this. From NFL Network, ESPN, ABC, ESPN2, ESPN Deportes, and other digital channels. Get that.
Right. I believe it.
And it became the second most watched NFL draft since 2017?
I believe it. Yes.
So I tell you, it was the drama of it all. Yeah, it put a good pocket change in those guys. It did well for websites as well who needed to have that little boost as well.
Right.
So it did help those people, man.
Right.
But also, Coop, before I get off the line with you, Robert Brazil, someone you know very well, Dr. Doom.
Yes.
He's going to be honored by the SWAC Alumni Association.
Close your eyes and imagine what you'll look like 6 months from now. How's your hair look? The same? Now picture how your hair would look if you started using Hims. If you're picturing the same you as before, but with much thicker and fuller hair, you'd be correct. What can happen in 3 to 6 months? You could pick up a new hobby and get not that good at it yet. You could do about half of your New Year's resolution. You could learn a few songs on the piano or pick up bass guitar. Or you could start seeing thicker, fuller hair regrowth through Hims. Not bad for just 3 to 6 months. Men, if you're starting to notice your hair thinning when you look in the mirror, you're not alone. Life just gets busier and busier, and it can feel like there's not enough time in the day to do something about it. So, try Hims Hair Loss Solutions. you can avoid jumping through a bunch of frustrating hoops and get access to treatment without even leaving your home. Hims provides you with the convenient access to a range of hair loss treatments that work, all from the comfort of your couch. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients, like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. Choose from personalized chewable, oral, spray, and serum treatments to find what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online, so there are no uncomfortable doctor visits. Answer a few questions and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to you for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, and they can help you get your confidence back too with visibly thicker and fuller hair. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Hail Mary. That's HIMS.com/Hail Mary for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/Hail Mary. Results may vary based on studies on topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with the healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Live on DAZN Worldwide, May 2nd and 3rd, Garcia versus Romero and Canelo versus Skull. Friday from 6 p.m. Eastern, Garcia returns in a history-making Times Square takeover. 24 hours later, Saturday from 7 p.m. Eastern, King Canelo faces undefeated Skull for the undisputed crown. May 2nd and 3rd, a knockout weekend of boxing. Pick one or go all in for only $90, exclusively on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.
Trading shouldn't have barriers. When Robinhood started, it was built to make trading more accessible. Now, Robinhood offers more sophisticated trading tools. Experience the future of trading on Robinhood Legend, the all-new desktop platform that harnesses intuitive design to deliver a seamless experience for traders. Free to use with a Robinhood account. Robinhood Legend is designed for how you trade with powerful charts, including custom intervals down to the tick and over 80 indicators and drawing tools. Trade all of your favorite assets, including popular stocks and ETFs, all in one place. Take your trading to the next level by customizing your layout in seconds and even enter and exit positions in one tap right from the chart with up to 8 charts per layout. The future of trading is fast, powerful, and precise. Experience it now on Robinhood Legend. Sign up today. Investing is risky. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Other fees may apply.
Month here in May. What's your thoughts about Robert Brazile when he was with the Houston Oilers?
Well, think about this. 50 years ago, 1975, Walter Payton, 4th round draft pick, and Robert Brazile, what, 6th or 8th pick in the first round?
Walter was 4th, and he was 6th overall, right?
And he came to the Houston Oilers, and I'm very happy for him. And one of the reasons I'm very happy for him is because he's learned. When he came here, his best friend on the team was Kenny Burrough.
Okay.
Him and Kenny Burrough, for Texas Southern. They had a wide receiver. They were bosom buddies. They were all over Houston together, closing up places, opening them up, signing autographs, kissing babies and mamas, and doing the whole deal. And Robert, while Kenny was just, Robert was just the opposite of Kenny, or Kenny was just the opposite of Robert. Because Kenny did all the talking.
Oh, really?
Kenny did all the talking and bragging and everything else. Well, Robert was more reserved, right? And now he does a little bit more talking as he's gotten older, and he's taking advantage of being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But think about this. If I'm correct, Walter Payton and Robert Brazile, they went to another school in the SWAC before they ended up at Jackson State. They went to Alcorn, if I'm correct. And
I need to check on that. I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
Yeah, check on that. If I'm correct, they went to Alcorn and they left because of the way they worked out, right?
Okay.
You didn't, back then, some places they were doing 3 a day, maybe 4 a days in pairs back in the day. But if I'm correct, they left Alcorn, I think is the school they were at. But the other thing about Robert Brazile, when he landed at Jackson State, he came there as a tight end, if I'm correct, and they moved him to defense, and he became the great defensive player that he became. And in Houston, if Robert Brazile, say, had been able to freelance like Lawrence Taylor did,
Yeah.
or like J.J. Watts did most recently, if they had moved Robert Brazile around like that, he would have been just as frightening. Well, he made the Hall of Fame. He would have been even more frightening than what he was.
Think
That
about
was the
this.
reason they called him Dr. Doom.
Yeah. Look, man. At the Celebration Bowl, I had a chance to be able to meet him for the first time and had a great conversation with him.
Right.
He still has the physique
Right.
at his age. He's 6'4", 241 pounds. He ran a 4.6 in the 40 at 6'4".
Right.
That's just incredible.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, just think about that impact of him hitting somebody at that size.
Right. And see, they were at Jackson State also with Vernon Perry.
Yeah, yeah.
Vernon Perry ended up going to Canada, the Canadian Football League at first. I think played 3 or 4 years up there. Then the Oilers signed him as a safety or whatever, and he comes to Houston. And in one game, in a playoff game, he had 4 interceptions one afternoon. I think it was against San Diego. So a lot of history there in regards to the black athletes from the HBCUs. And it's good to see that a guy like Robert Brazile, who's getting that great treatment and being honored and saluted like he is, because a kind of reserved guy, quiet to a degree, but very confident. Now, when he hit the football field, he was another kind of animal, and and he was the kind of individual again. Although they could have used him differently, he kept offensive coordinators and quarterbacks up the night before a game. You can rest assured that some of them went to sleep.
Thinking about Brazil.
Yeah, the next day, they went to sleep with him on their mind. So, hey, man. So
think about this 1975 draft.
Yeah.
Walter Payton.
Yep.
Robert Brazile.
Yes.
Gary Johnson.
Yep.
And
Big
Tom
hand.
Hollywood Henderson.
Big Hands Johnson. They called him Big Hands. Big Hand. Gary Big
Hand
Johnson.
Oh
yeah, he had some huge hands, and Big Hand Johnson, and then you had Thomas Hollywood Henderson. Like
Hollywood Henderson, man.
Yeah. Yeah, came out of Langston that year.
Yeah,
and they had a great quarterback at one time. Also, many people probably today he would have probably been drafted and signed as a free agent, but Princeton Pondexter was his name. He came out of Langston.
Yeah, he was a really very good talent.
Yeah, and he just came along at the wrong time, and but today. He would have been drafted. I just put it that way, just from recalling how he played.
Yeah. So this draft had 36 HBCU players selected because they had 17 rounds, right?
Right.
But in that draft, 4 were from Jackson State.
Yeah, and then they had some others to go. Like I said, Vernon Perry ended up, if I'm correct, came out of that. He may have been in that draft. Then again, he may have been before. But he went to Canada. Then you had, like you said, you had some others. And then you had some others who were signed as free agents also off of that team. Yeah. And they were a show when they came to town. Because of the size and and the speed and how they played. They had all those great guys. Today, they would all of them would have been high NIL guys. And I'm talking about high. High price NIL guys.
Isn't that something, 50 years removed? Man, yeah, that's 50 years ago.
See, think about this. When that happened, you think about there were no black head coaches. Very few black assistant coaches. You had black scouts. There were a few, you can count them on their nose or ears, people working in the front offices.
Yeah.
And you look at how that draft went and how they were hitting those black schools, because the schools in the South were still somewhat reluctant about taking black players. You know, Alabama has started to make their move, and some others.
Right.
But but you had some places that were still that didn't want to have black players, or didn't want to have a huge influx of black players. So they would have, you know, a quota or whatever, unwritten quotas. But the black schools were still getting black players. But today, could Grambling get a Gary Big Hands Johnson? Could Langston get a Hollywood Henderson?
Right.
And what about Walter Payton and Robert Brazile? Would Jackson State be able to get Robert Brazile and Walter Payton today? They would be like Sanders. Think about it. They would be like Sanders and Hunter.
Yeah.
They would have been gone.
They would have been gone, man.
Yeah.
It's great stuff. Great stuff. And Coop, you had one. You told me one NFL draft story.
A draft story. Go ahead.
It was an NFL guy in Houston that they were trying to stash away. Talk about that one.
Well, they were trying to stash away at Dallas. He was from Houston, and the Dallas Cowboys had stashed him and a couple of people up in Dallas. They had gone into peer review and got Otis Taylor.
The great Otis Taylor, who should be a Hall of Famer.
Right, they were going to hook up. They had Bob Hayes. Think about it, if they had gotten Otis Taylor. They were going to hook up Otis Taylor and Bob Hayes on the same football team.
Ooh-wee.
And what happened was they were hiding him out at some hotel or whatever, motel or hotel up in the Dallas area. And the super scout, as some called him, the judge, Lloyd Wells, who's, if I'm correct, the first full-time black scout in the NFL, who should be in the Hall of Fame also.
Yeah.
He had known Otis Taylor since Otis Taylor was in high school at Worthing. And he knew his family, and he went to his family and found out where the Cowboys were hiding him out. And he told him that he let him know that the Cowboys were not paying him what he should be getting. And he got in his car and he drove up to Dallas and got Otis Taylor, and there was another player also, got them out of. They did have somebody babysitting and watching them in the room next door or whatever, but he got them out of there and loaded them up and took them to Kansas City. And he was working. So most people thought he was working directly for Hank Stram, the head coach, but he was working for the owner of the Kansas City.
The Hunts,
Chiefs. Right?
Yeah,
he's working for Lamar Hunt. Lamar Hunt was still living, and you know, and he the next thing you know, he was on the payroll and he had a convertible Lincoln, a Cadillac, and Otis got him a Lincoln, if I'm correct. His first vehicle was a Lincoln.
Wow.
And of course he signed with the Kansas City Chiefs. You know. And later became
a Super Bowl champion.
Played in the first Super Bowl, and later became a champion. Should be in the Hall of Fame. And the ironic thing about the Kansas City Chiefs, they had been the Dallas Texans.
Yes.
Before they moved. Sure. They were the Dallas Texans before they moved up to Kansas City. So so a lot of history there, and you know, you all keep doing your jobs. You'll learn quite a bit. And see, you know, a piece of white history. One afternoon, one draft. A draft. This was a draft. This is back in the day when the draft was not like it is now, flamboyant and everything, with all these things going on with the TV. So this was at the this team. I'll tell you where the team was in a minute. It was the Houston Oilers. The Houston Oilers were drafted, and the general manager, who was John Breen, and the head coach at that time, who ended up only winning one pro football game as a head coach before they fired him.
What?
Was a gentleman named Bill Peterson, who had come from Rice University and Florida State.
Okay.
So Bill Peterson, they didn't know that there was a black guy coming around the corner, right? Mm-hmm. And they had drafted Big John Matusak, right?
Mm.
And they were excited. We got us a big Polak. We got us one. We got us one. Sucking the cigars, right?
Right, right.
And when they saw the black reporter coming around the corner, they nearly choked.
That was you?
Oh yeah, I just laughed with glee because they were so happy. They were so happy they got. I mean, Matusak was a monster. If you Google him up and see how big he was.
I remember how big he was.
Yeah, he played in a couple of movies.
Yeah,
and he had the distinction later on. He was playing with the Oilers, and he signed a contract with a World Football League team we had here, the Houston Texans, if I'm correct. Whatever other team we had, he signed with that team.
Was that the World Football League? Or you?
Yeah, no, it was the World Football League.
Okay, I remember. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and he was out. He was playing. He was in the Astrodome playing for the team when the papers were served on him that he couldn't play. But they got him what they wanted. They got us a big Polak. We got us one. Oh, they were so happy. Hey man, you had to say. So imagine what they were saying when they got a black guy. I won't even go there.
Yeah, well, we already know what they were saying. Oh, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Coop. Do you know Marquise Grissom, right?
Yeah, I saw him play, yes, many times, yes.
Yeah, because I know, guys, if you don't know, Coop is a avid baseball fan and also coached Little League baseball, correct, Coop?
Yeah, we had a nice the Stars of the Future team. Ended up we went 0 and whatever, and then for the first year or so, and then we ended up winning the championship when all the kids had grown to be 12, 11, 12, and 13 years old. But when they were 9 and 10, we took some whippings. but we got our revenge later on.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Well, look, Grissom's son has been promoted up to AAA for the Washington Nationals affiliate there. And he's done pretty good over the past couple of seasons with a lot of saves as a pitcher. But it was to my surprise in just doing some research on Grissom when he was at FAMU, he was a hell of a pitcher as well as an outfielder.
Yeah, he had a hell of an arm, but he realized. I guess he realized at an early stage that he wanted to be a pitcher. Then again, maybe they misused him at Florida A&M, but he did. He always had an arm, and he could always play well, and he hit well, and he had speed also. He could run. Yeah, he could run. Yeah. Right. So I'm glad to see that. And also with that same Washington national team. There's another story. He started this season in the minors. I think he's still there. Is Dusty Baker's son, Darren, I think it is. He came up last year with the Washington Nationals late in the season. He was cut on the last day before the major league rosters were set, and he was sent to their AAA team. So the Washington Nationals are going through that bloodline with the Bakers and now Grissom. So we'll see what else happens with them.
Yeah, that'll be great, man. Grissom, 1 year he led the whole NCAA Division I in runs and triples.
Yeah, I said he could run. Ask the people who played against him down here in Houston at Prairie View and Texas Southern. They remember him. Well, they didn't necessarily. They played with, I think, against him in tournaments or whatever. It wasn't like it is now, of course, with them being in a SWAC. But they knew about him. They knew about him, just like they knew about Andre Dawson,
Yeah, the great Andre Dawson, right? FAMU.
Yeah. Then you had Lou Brock going way back. You had Lou Brock over at Southern. But then the other one, they knew Gator. Most people don't know him as Gator. But Gator played at Grambling, Ralph Garr.
Okay. I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, we called him Gator.
Yeah,
that was it. They called him Gator. He's going to think he know you. If you run up to him, hey, Gator.
Hey, young man, how you doing?
Yeah. So there's a lot of history in baseball in the SWAC.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
And finally, before we get off with you, Coop, the Black College Football Hall of Fame, They have their inductee class for 2025. Henry Dyer from Grambling State, Rashawn
Another great one.
Mathis
Yes.
from Bethune-Cookman,
Uh-huh.
Jaquai Nunley from Florida A&M, and we know Dominique Rogers-Cromartie from Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Jay Skywalker, the ESPN broadcaster. And he was the quarterback of Howard Bison for a long time. MEAC champion, right? HBCU champion, his day. And finally, they got it right with Coach Fred Pop Long from Wiley College. He's going to be inducted as well. One name they don't have is Rudy Hubbard.
Well, man, that's a name they should get in there. Rudy Hubbard.
He should be in. Yeah.
Is Billy Joe in?
Billy Joe has been inducted into the Black College Football Hall of Fame.
Well, that's a great one also. Billy Joe. But it's good to see that Coach Pop Long, who touched a lot of people, in the Houston area because you had and Texas area because you had a lot of people going to Wiley back in the day because of him.
Yeah.
So that's a great thing. But I know you're about to end with me, but one of my greatest interviews took place early in the morning one morning, and I didn't. At times, I would try to venture out and get interviews with people that I had a lot of interest in.
Right.
So I called him, and I got an interview with this guy. They told me to be at the hotel here in Houston, the Western Oaks. They told me to be there about 15 minutes to 10.
Okay.
And that the gentleman would be there for me to interview. He would come to the little room they had. So I got there early, about 9:30, and I saw him bringing in a couple of bars, right? I said, "Man, why would they be bringing bars in here with whiskey? Bars with whiskey and beer, right? At 10 o'clock in the morning, 9:30 in the morning." So then, your mind gets to clicking about who this gentleman was.
Right.
And then you had heard these rumors about him and the people he was running with. So, but you had no clue that this stuff was actually true.
Right.
But that morning I found out. So I was waiting for Sammy Davis Jr., right? So I was the first one there.
Wow.
I got there early that morning. I did a Kyle Mosley. I got there early that morning. and his PR lady introduced me to her. She was a black woman. She said, "Mr. Davis, this young man would like to interview you. He's been here waiting." So, "Oh, yeah, good." And he said, "What's your name?" And I told him my name and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "You got a famous name. Do you know who you're out there?" And I told him my mother had named me after the great Ralph Coop at the Apollo Theater. That just blew his mind.
See, I did not know this all these years. You never told me that one.
Yeah, my mother was going to name me Gary Cooper, right?
Yeah.
And my mother was living with some family members at one time, and they went to the movies, and she saw a black movie with Ralph Cooper in it. And she decides, and that name stuck with her, right?
Yeah.
And then when I came up, I was named Ralph Cooper instead of Gary Cooper. But anyway, to make it, so Mr. Davis said, Sammy Davis Jr. said, "Oh yeah, you about ready to do the interview?" I said, "Yeah." So he said, "Come on over here, come on, go." So we went over to the bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
I said, "I'm wondering why are we going to the bar?" So then it hit me why we was going to the bar. So he said, "Give me a double shot of Jack Black." It's 10 o'clock in the morning, right? "Give me a double shot of Jack Black. Make that 2.
Yeah, wow.
He said, "A man can't drink by himself." So I'm looking around to see who he's going to drink with. And he looks at me. He said, "Let's toast." I said, you wanted the interview, right? So I just picked the glass up kind of reluctantly. He probably noticed it and toasted, right?
Yeah.
Have a sip. And he said, so I sit there and interview Sammy Davis. Now, while I'm sipping on that one, right, at 10 o'clock in the morning, I wasn't used to no hard liquor at all, right? He drunk 2 of them, 2 double shots during the interview, right?
He was just getting started.
Yeah, right, because he had some other people he was going to be talking to, right?
Right.
So anyway, now you know what happened when my interview was over.
You were sloshed?
I jumped in my car and said, "Just let me get home." and threw my bag on the couch and took my clothes off and jumped in the bed. And then I realized, I said, well, one thing about him, he was a true rat packer. You know what I'm talking about? They're
Yeah.
talking about the Rat Pack.
Yeah. Yeah.
I realized then he was a true member of the Rat Pack. So that's one of the interviews that I cherish. Being able to have interviewed, that's right up there with any of them. I mean, any of them. That one stand, and the beauty of it, of Wilma Rudolph.
Yeah.
To interview Wilma Rudolph, and she's 50 something years old, and she comes out at 9:30 or whatever in the morning at the Houstonian Hotel on a Sunday morning. She comes out with no makeup on or nothing,
Mm-hmm.
and looks like she's in Hollywood.
Wow. Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, that's
I know you do.
that's beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful to sit in front of an interviewer for a few minutes. You know what
I
I'm
should.
talking about?
Well, did you have a question, sir? No, I'm just. You just say whatever you want to say.
Yeah, so Wilma Rudolph. So, you know, and see, at that time you didn't have the WNBA and all these women working in the front offices
Right.
of color. You didn't have all these women of color at that time,
Right.
and the main ones were in track and field, and she was one of them, of course. So that was great too. So I just wanted to throw that one.
You know, when I was growing up, remember the movie they did about Wilma Rudolph?
Yes, with Denzel.
Yeah, and I was just like, man, my mom and I watched that movie together. I still can recollect seeing that movie. I was just so amazed at all she went through and to be able to achieve what she had achieved. It was just awesome.
Remember
Tennessee State, right? Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Tennessee State. Great.
And they didn't believe that she would walk. Remember, they didn't think she was going to walk, not just run, but not even walk. And see, then the other classic part, I never met him in person, but I interviewed him over the phone, was to interview her coach at Tennessee State, Coach Ed Temple, and how he talked about the Tiger Bells.
Yeah.
And he cherished being the coach of the team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He cherished being the coach. And, so that's the other one. Yeah, just wanted to throw that one out there.
Awesome
and
stuff.
They traveled in a car. If I'm correct, he said a two-door vehicle. They traveled in a two-door vehicle.
Two-door vehicle with the whole team.
With five or six girls.
Wow.
And the rest is history.
Wow.
And you had one of the greatest ones that came through there, and she was a good looker too. I interviewed her too, and Willie White, who made 5 different Olympic teams. She started at 15 years old. She ended up becoming she was out of Chicago. She became the director of athletics or whatever for the city of Chicago. She worked for Mayor Daley, a very good looking woman. And she went to the first Olympic when she was 15, while she was still in high school. And then she went off to Tennessee State and still went to the Olympics 4 more times while at Tennessee State and afterwards at Tennessee State. Interviewed her one night. I'm interviewing her, and I'm not going to call this guy's name. Yeah. So in the studio, while I'm interviewing in the studio, when the interview is over, I run into this guy in the hall. I say, hey, man, good to see you. What you doing up here this time of night? He said, you think I'm going to leave my woman up here with you? And I'm like, I was shocked that was his woman. Then I put 2 and 2 together because he had played up north in college and in the pros, right? But he had come to pick her up. He had dropped her at the station, but he didn't come in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I didn't know that they had a relationship going on. And so you know, you run into all that kind of stuff too, you know. So you know how that is.
Coop's, don't leave your woman. Coop was like Usher, guys. Don't leave your woman around him.
Man, I wasn't that.
It wasn't that he was going to do something to him. It's what the women were going to do to him.
You may be right about that. No, but anyway, I appreciate the respect I got from him.
Yeah, yeah.
If you understand what I'm saying. But
she had some nice legs too. I'm looking at some of these track photos.
Willie White. Oh yeah, and she was very smart. Willie White.
I see what you mean. I'm on his side now on this one, Coop.
I know you are.
he ain't no fool. That was a very, very smart man.
He was there.
Oh my God, that is too funny.
You run into those kind of things. So hey, so anyway, keep up the great work and all that good stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. Okay?
I did. Well, Coop, tell everybody how they can find you out there on the World Wide Web as well as on radio.
You can go to 12:30 a.m. You can go to 1230am.com, 1230am.com, and you can go to KCOH, the source, on the internet also. KCOH, the source, on the internet. And you can also go to the Simple Radio app and hit KCOH 1230, the Simple Radio app, and hit KCOH 1230. Plus, I'm on Ralph Cooper Facebook Live every day between 1 and 3 and 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. and also 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday.
All right. Oh, Coop, before we get off, man, I keep on forgetting about this. Jace Wilson, your thoughts about him leaving Texas Southern and headed to Tennessee Tech?
I wish he deserves nothing but the best. He's one of the classiest and smartest individuals to come to Texas Southern during the times I've been around there, in regards to getting an education, in regards to dedicating himself to the program, and also in regards to how he handled himself in moments when some of us thought he should be starting, and we know he thought he should have been starting. He handled himself in a very professional way. He didn't gripe or come to the media with some negative things to be said. He was in my opinion, he was the ultimate team player.
He was a class act.
Yeah, and it's great to see him get a break now going to Tennessee Tech. He went to where did he go to school? Davidson first. He went to another school first.
Was it? Is it Fordham?
Fordham.
Yeah.
Foreman. I think.
Furman. Yeah.
Not Fordham. Furman first. Came to Texas Southern, and did quite well. Wasn't the greatest quarterback, but he utilized his skills, and he was also one of the smartest moves he made was getting into that Manning camp over in Louisiana.
That's right. Archie Manning told me he got him in because he wrote a letter, not that year, but 2 years prior.
Yeah, and got him.
And he always remembered the kid.
Right, and got him into, and he got a paying job while he was there, didn't he?
He was a consultant, right?
Yeah, and still got the quarterback. Got a chance to take part in the quarterback drills to become a better quarterback. And a guy like that, I'm not a football coach, but when a guy like that, you could utilize the talents that he had. You knew what he could do well. I mean, you should know what he could do well. And if they had utilized the talents that he had in regards to enhancing the team, I think they could have got more out of him, in my opinion. Okay?
Yeah, and he is graduating with his sports management degree from Texas Southern this month, May.
Right.
So he'll be graduating. So that'll be great to see Jace.
And he's going to Tennessee Tech to work on his master's, if I'm correct.
Yes, that is correct. And it's a one-year track, he said.
Yeah, well, good.
So he hopes to be able to obtain his master's after this last season of eligibility in the NCAA. So that's great for him. If you didn't know this, guys, the Orange Blossom Classic just named a new title partner, the Invesco QQQ. The great thing about this, Coop, is that the financial component is to be able to teach all of these young men who are going to be playing in that game from Howard as well as FAMU, and to not only teach them, be able to provide job opportunities for people who are interested, a part of the HBCU world as well. So that's a great investment from Invesco QQQ. What's your thoughts?
The same thing. I think it's a great investment, and hopefully we'll see more of these type things happening, where you get people involved in these classics, more people getting involved in these classics. And then I give the people who are involved in that classic, with their being innovative enough to make these kind of moves. And a lot of people in these places, some people in I won't say a lot, but some people in these places they don't really understand the job. They need to go back to 101 in regards to being media people and being advisors or whatever, consultants or whatever, producers or whatever in regards to these type programs that they're in.
Okay,
and
Coach Ty Dillard, I should say, Dillard Moulton, or sometimes people would refer to her over at the University of Houston. She's taken over at Prairie View A&M. As of today, she is the new head women's basketball coach. She succeeds Coach Pugh, who was there for many years. Your thoughts?
I think it's a good move. I enjoyed, although they didn't win, I enjoyed watching the Prairie View team when I saw them play at Texas Southern.
Yeah, very good games, really.
Games. I enjoyed watching them. I enjoyed the spirit of the coaching staff. You hate to see people lose their job, and then again, you have to be excited about another person getting a chance. So while that staff that was there, I enjoyed watching them also and how they coach those kids, those young ladies. I wish the best for Prairie View in this new realm of women's basketball, and also the new football coach, Coach Jackson. I wish them nothing but the best. I know you have Prairie View favored by 3 over Texas Southern.
What about you, Coop? How do you see that that Labor Day Classic?
Hey, man, I don't know who's other than the quarterback at Texas Southern. I know they have 4 quarterbacks. I don't know anybody else at Texas Southern right now. So, Prairie View by 7.
Wow. Prairie View by 7 with Coop.
Right today on the May 1st,
2025.
I've got Prairie View favored by 7 over Texas Southern.
Houston. In Houston. Yeah, Shell Energy. That's going to be a good one, man.
Yeah, we may not get invited into the press room after the game, but who cares? Prairie View by 7. Kyle's got Prairie View by 3.
And isn't that something? Coop, over the past 5 seasons, we've been the only ones consistently there.
Yep, and we get treated like we've never been there at times. I know you may not want to say it. Get treated like we're foreigners coming in from the Ukraine to cover the game. Who are these guys? Who are these 2 guys? And we've been there the whole time. From the start of the games to the end of the games.
That's right.
Been there. And you get treated like you're a couple of reporters from the Ukraine or Russia or wherever from the Congo.
If you were from Ukraine, they're like, "Oh Lord, let's bring out the red carpet."
Yeah, probably so. You're probably right.
Hey, you mean 1 Frenchie's? No, we're gonna give them 3 Frenchie's boxes of chicken.
Yeah, so but we'll be there again this year. We look forward to it. The first game, really about 90 days away. What's this? August. We have June 1st, June 1st, July 1st, August 1st. So we're really about 15 weeks away, something like that.
Yeah, let's see, August 30th to May 1st.
Yeah, it's how many days?
That's
about 60. It's right around 90 days or something, right? A little bit over 90.
Not far off, yeah.
Yeah. So about 15 weeks off. 15 times 7 is what? 7 times 15, 35, about 100 days out, I think, somewhere in that neighborhood. We're
121 close. Days
before the game.
Before the game kicks off here in Houston, Texas. I believe it should be 7 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, probably 7 o'clock kickoff. Downtown Houston at the soccer stadium.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a good one. And we shall see if they can be able to reclaim the
hopefully we have a
trophy.
roster by then. I'll be looking for some rosters.
You're being ambitious, Coop. You're being ambitious.
Hey, there was a time you could rattle off 20 or 30 Texas Southern or Prairie View football players right quick. These days, with the way things are, you have trouble naming 5. Think about it.
Well, hopefully we'll push to have that change. We'll see if we can get some change when it comes to that. All right, guys.
We know Coach Dishman is Chris Dishman is the Texas Southern coach, and what's that? Terrence Jackson.
No, Tremaine.
I'm sorry, I don't know how I got Terrence. Tremaine Jackson is the head football coach at Prairie View. We do know that.
Yeah.
So thank you. Okay.
And they're already shots fired between the two of those guys. So
Yeah.
we'll see how everything goes down. I'm Kyle T. Mosley of HBCU Legends. You can check us out at HBCU Legends on all social media platforms. You can check me out at KTMOZE on X as well. And you can go to hbculegends.net and read all of our content on Sports Illustrated. Kyle T. Mosley with the great Ralph Cooper. Thanks, Coop.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a great evening. Thank you.
You too, Doc. Take care. Bye.
Live on DAZN Worldwide, May 2nd and 3rd, Garcia versus Romero and Canelo versus Skull. Friday from 6 p.m. Eastern, Garcia returns in a history-making Times Square takeover. 24 hours later, Saturday from 7 p.m. Eastern, King Canelo faces undefeated Skull for the undisputed crown. May 2nd and 3rd, a knockout weekend of boxing. Pick one or go all in for only $90, exclusively on DAZN. Buy now at DAZN.com/boxing.